This is a very important update for the community of Tamarac. In the news of a brutal murder that happened right behind me in this apartment complex, the murder of Kayla Hodgson. Now, she has been identified by friends and family as Kayla Hodgson on social media, so here's a picture of her. With new details released, 28-year-old Sakiyna Thompson, age 28, from Springfield, New York, was arrested by New York police officers.
You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
On July 13th, 2022, in a quiet apartment complex, a young woman's life was cut short in a burst of unimaginable violence. Kayla Hodgson, just 23 years old, was found stabbed to death in her home, her vibrant spirit silenced in a matter of moments. Who could have done this to someone so full of life? Why would anyone target a woman described as everybody's hype man, whose laughter lit up every room she entered? And what secrets were buried in the shadows of that fateful day? Welcome to Dark Truth Files, where we unravel the chilling truths behind real-life mysteries. Today, we dive into the heartbreaking case of Kayla Hodgson, a case that's left the community reeling, a family shattered, and investigators racing to uncover answers. Was this a crime of passion, a calculated act, or something far more sinister? Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments below, and let's start a conversation about this case. What are your thoughts? Stick with me as we piece together the haunting details of a murder that still demands justice. Kayla Hodgson wasn't just another face in the crowd. She was a supernova, bright, magnetic, and impossible to ignore. Born in 1999, Kayla grew up in the sun-soaked sprawl of South Florida, where palm trees sway and the nightlife pulses. At 23, she was carving out her place in the world, working as a bartender and bottle waitress at some of Broward County's hottest spots. Her friends called her the life of the party, someone who could turn a slow night into a celebration with her infectious energy. She was everybody's hype man. Her friend Brianna told reporters, her voice breaking with grief. Her life was gone way too soon. Kayla's world revolved around connection. She thrived in the chaos of crowded bars, slinging drinks with a smile that made strangers feel like friends. Her former employer, Swana Alphonse, described her as a cornerstone of the South Florida hospitality scene, a young woman whose warmth drew people in. Whether she was pouring shots or dancing to the beat of a DJ, Kayla had a way of making everyone feel seen. Her Instagram was a vibrant tapestry of beach days, late-night laughs, and selfies that radiated confidence. But beneath the bright exterior, Kayla was also a dreamer, saving up for a future she'd only just begun to map out. Kayla was the glue of her family, an amazing daughter, a very loved and adored big sister, niece, granddaughter, and cousin, according to the GoFundMe page created to cover her funeral costs. Her bond with her younger siblings was especially tight. She'd spend hours playing with them, telling silly stories or helping with homework, always with a protective, nurturing spirit. Her mother often spoke of Kayla's loyalty, how she dropped everything to help a loved one in need. One story stands out. When her little brother broke his arm at school, Kayla was the first to rush to his side, commenting with jokes until their parent arrived. That was Kayla, always there, always caring. Her apartment at Tamarac Village was her sanctuary, a small but cozy space filled with mementos of her life. A framed photo of her family at a Miami Dolphins game, a collection of colorful shot glasses from her bartending gigs, and a vision board pinned with dreams of travel and maybe even opening her own bar someday. She was ambitious, working long shifts to save for that future, but she never let the grind dim her light. Friends say she texts them at 2 a.m. after a shift, sharing funny stories about rowdy customers or planning weekend adventures. Kayla was living for the moment, but she had her eyes on something bigger. Yet, Like anyone, Kayla carried her struggles. The hospitality industry is grueling. Late nights, demanding customers, and the constant hustle for tips. She confided in friends about the toll it sometimes took, the exhaustion of always being on. There were whispers of complicated love life, too, relationships that burned bright, but often ended in heartbreak. Online discussions later speculated about a man in her life, someone who may have been at the center of tensions, though details remain murky. Kayla kept her personal battles private, choosing instead to project strength and joy. She never let you see her sweat, one co-worker said. Even when things were tough, she'd show up with a smile. Kayla's life wasn't perfect, but it was hers, a vibrant tapestry of love, ambition, and resilience. She was a young woman on the cusp of something great, surrounded by people who adored her. How did a night like any other turn into a nightmare? What led to the moment when Kayla's light was extinguished forever? Kayla Hodgson woke up in her apartment, Unit 207, a modest one-bedroom she'd made her own. The morning was quiet, unremarkable. She texted a friend around 9 a.m., joking about a late shift the night before. "Girl, I need a coffee for a drip after last night." It was classic Kayla, witty, upbeat, ready to tackle the day. She had the day off, a rare break from her bartending grind. Neighbors later told investigators they saw her around noon, stepping out to grab something from her car, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, wearing a tank top and shorts. She waved at a neighbor, her smile as bright as ever. By all accounts, it was an ordinary day, until it wasn't. By early afternoon, something shifted. Phone records show Kayla stopped responding to texts after 1:30 p.m., unusual for someone who was always glued to her phone. A co-worker tried calling her around 2 p.m., planning to meet up later, but the call went to voicemail. The apartment complex, usually alive with the comings and goings of residents, grew eerily quiet as the heat of the day kept most people indoors. Approximately 3 p.m., a friend stopped by Kayla's apartment to check on her after she didn't show up for a planned coffee date. The door was slightly ajar, a detail that immediately raised alarm. Pushing it open, the friend stepped into a scene of horror. Kayla lay on the living room floor, surrounded by a pool of blood. She'd been stabbed multiple times, with a deep wound to her neck that told a story of brutal violence. The friend's screams echoed to the complex, drawing neighbors who called 911. Police arrived within minutes, their sirens cutting through the stillness. The apartment was cordoned off, and crime scene techs swarmed the scene. Blood splattered the walls, a knife was missing from Kayla's kitchen block, and signs of struggle were evident. A knocked-over lamp, a shattered glass on the floor. The air smelled of copper and fear. Investigators noted no signs of forced entry, suggesting Kayla may have known her attacker. But who and why? As paramedics confirmed Kayla's death, word spread like wildfire. Neighbors gathered outside, whispering in shock. "She was so sweet," one woman told a reporter, clutching her toddler's hand. Who would do this? The Broward Sheriff's Office set up a command post, interviewing anyone who'd seen or heard anything unusual. A delivery driver mentioned seeing a woman lingering near Kayla's building earlier that day, but the description was vague. Dark hair, medium build, nothing distinctive. Kayla's phone, found near her body, was locked, but investigators later accessed it, revealing a flurry of texts and calls in the hours before her death. One message, sent at 1:15 p.m., was cryptic. "We need to talk. Now." The sender's identity wasn't immediately clear, but it hinted at a confrontation. Was this the spark that led to murder? The scene painted a picture of a sudden violent attack, but the why and who remained maddeningly out of reach. On August 3rd, 2022, less than 3 weeks after Kayla's murder, a break in the case came from an unexpected place: Queens, New York. Sakiyna Thompson, a 28-year-old woman with no prior criminal record, was arrested by the NYPD in Springfield Gardens.
New details tonight on an arrest in New York City. This after a young woman was killed last month inside her apartment in Tamarac. The Broward Sheriff's Office announced that the suspect, Sakiyna Thompson, is now in custody.
Well, Naja, BSO says that the suspect was arrested in a neighborhood in Queens. That was 3 weeks after the homicide here. It's also where residents are relieved.
I feel terribly bad that that happened to her.
Shayla Hernandez was horrified by the murder of her neighbor, identified by friends and family members as 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson, seen here and in photos in a post from loved ones on a fundraising website. BSO says they responded to Hodgson's second-floor apartment on July 13th after a 911 call about an unresponsive woman. They say they discovered that Hodgson died at the scene here at the Tamarac Village complex. On July 25th, a warrant was issued for 28-year-old Sakiyna Thompson. She was arrested on Wednesday in New York City.
Making an arrest makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
BSO is not saying what led them to their suspect, but an arrest affidavit says Sakiyna Thompson was demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life by stabbing with a sharp object with a premeditated intent to cause death.
I am very happy to hear about it because we were scared. We heard different stories from different people, and I happen to live on the floor above her, so I'm very happy. It makes me feel a lot better and more secure that they finally arrested somebody.
A warrant issued on July 25th named her as the prime suspect in Kayla's murder, charged with first-degree murder. But who was Sakiyna, and what connected her to a young bartender in Florida? Investigators revealed little, but online discussions pieced together fragments of a story. Sakiyna and Kayla may have been linked through a mutual acquaintance, a man whose identity remains unconfirmed but was rumored to be at the heart of a love triangle. Social media posts from the time, now deleted, suggested tension between the two women, with some claiming Sakiyna had been in Florida around the time of the murder. One unverified account described a heated exchange online, where Sakiyna allegedly threatened to handle someone who crossed her.
You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
Was Kayla that someone? The most persistent theory centers on a romantic dispute. Kayla's love life, while private, was known to be turbulent. Friends hinted at a recent breakup, possibly with a man who'd also been involved with Sakiyna. Investigators found no concrete evidence of a direct confrontation between women, but phone records showed calls between Kayla and an unknown number linked to New York in the days leading up to July 13th. Was Sakiyna driven by jealousy, rage, or betrayal? The absence of a clear motive kept the theory tantalizing but unproven. Sakina's alibi was shaky. She claimed to have been in New York at the time of the murder, but flight records showed she'd traveled to Florida days earlier, returning shortly after July 13th. Her social media activity also raised eyebrows. Posts from early July showed her in Miami, just 30 miles from Tamarac. One chilling post, later scrubbed, reportedly showed her at a club captioned, "Some people need to learn their place." Was this a veiled threat aimed at Kayla? Investigators didn't put all their eggs in one basket. They looked into Kayla's ex-boyfriend's co-workers and even disgruntled customers from her bartending gigs. One man, a regular at her bar, had been banned for harassing her weeks before her death. His alibi checked out, but his aggressive behavior kept him on the radar. Another theory pointed to a random act of violence, a robbery gone wrong, but the lack of forced entry and missing valuables made this less likely. Then there was a mysterious woman seen near Kayla's building. Was it Sakiyna or someone else entirely? A neighbor's vague description fueled speculation, but no security footage from the complex clarified the sighting. The absence of a murder weapon further muddied the waters. Was the knife taken by the killer or hidden somewhere yet to be found? Each lead seemed to raise more questions than answers. What drives someone to stab another person with such ferocity? If Sakiyna was a killer, what pushed her to cross state lines and commit such a brutal act? Psychologists suggest crimes of passion often stem from deep-seated betrayal or obsession, emotions that can spiral into violence. Sakina's life in New York was unremarkable on the surface. A job in retail, a small circle of friends. But online discussions painted her as someone with fiery temper, quick to confront perceived slights. Did a personal grievance escalate into murder, or was there a deeper, darker motive at play. The lack of concrete evidence linking Sakiyna to the crime scene kept the case open to doubt. No DNA, fingerprints, or eyewitnesses definitively place her in Kayla's apartment. Yet, the speed of her arrest suggested investigators had something. Perhaps phone data, a witness, or a confession we don't yet know about. The question lingers. Was Sakiyna the mastermind of a calculated killing, or a convenient scapegoat in a case desperate for closure? Just when investigators thought they had their suspect, a single piece of evidence turned everything upside down. What was it, and how did it change the course of the investigation? Stay with me. We're about to unravel the twist that shocked everyone. In late August 2022, a bombshell dropped. A partial fingerprint found on a glass in Kayla's apartment didn't match Sakiyna Thompson. It belonged to an unidentified male, someone not previously on the radar. This discovery sent investigators scrambling, re-examining every lead. Was this a new suspect, or a red herring from someone who'd visited Kayla's apartment days earlier? The fingerprint was smudged, making it impossible to conclusively identify, but it cast doubt on Sakiyna's guilt. If she wasn't the killer, who was? The media pounced on the twist, with news outlets running headlines about a mystery man in the case. Online discussions exploded, with armchair detectives speculating about everyone from Kayla's exes to a random intruder. Some pointed to a cryptic text found on Kayla's phone, sent hours before her death. You don't know what you're messing with. The number was untraceable, linked to a burner phone. Was this a clue to the real killer, or a distraction from the truth? Meanwhile, Sakiyna Thompson's legal battle began. Extradited to Florida, she appeared in Broward County Court in September 2022, her expression stoic as she pleaded not guilty. Her defense team argued the case was built on circumstantial evidence. Travel records and vague social media posts weren't enough to prove murder. Prosecutors, tight-lipped, hinted at undisclosed evidence, possibly digital forensics or a witness statement. But without the murder weapon or direct physical evidence, the case felt fragile. Sakiyna's pregnancy, revealed during a court hearing, added another layer of complexity. Her attorney argued for bond, citing her condition, but the judge denied it, citing the severity of the crime. Online, opinions were divided. Some saw Sakiyna as a wronged woman, caught in a web of speculation. Others believe her calm demeanor hid a guilty conscience. The lack of transparency from investigators only fueled the fire. The media played a pivotal role in shaping public perception. Local news outlets covered Kayla's murder relentlessly, painting her as a beloved figure whose death left a void. National true crime shows picked up the story, with episodes dissecting the love triangle theory and the mysterious fingerprint. Social media, meanwhile, became a battleground. One viral post claimed Kayla had stumbled onto something dangerous at work. A drug deal, perhaps, but no evidence supported this. The frenzy wasn't without consequences. Kayla's family, already grieving, faced an onslaught of online speculation, some of it cruel. Her mother spoke out in a rare interview, begging for privacy. We just want to remember Kayla for who she was, not what people are saying online. The media circus highlighted a darker side of true crime culture, where real pain is often overshadowed by sensationalism. By early 2023, the investigation hit a wall. The fingerprint led nowhere, and Sakiyna's trial faced delays due to legal wrangling. Prosecutors hinted at new leads, but nothing materialized publicly. The Broward Sheriff's Office maintained their $5,000 reward for information leading to an arrest, suggesting the case wasn't as closed as it seemed. Online discussions continued to churn, with some believing the real killer was still out there, hiding in plain sight. The twist of the unidentified fingerprint raised haunting questions. Was Sakiyna framed, or was she working with someone else? Did Kayla know her killer, or was this a random act of violence? The truth remained elusive, like a shadow slipping through the cracks. As of July 2025, Sakiyna Thompson is still awaiting trial, with hearings delayed by legal motions and the complexity of the case. The Broward Sheriff's Office has released few updates, citing an ongoing investigation. The unidentified fingerprint continues to loom large, a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. Detectives are reportedly exploring new forensic techniques, like advanced DNA analysis, but no breakthroughs have been announced. Kayla's family has channeled their grief into advocacy, pushing for justice and supporting victims' rights organizations. The GoFundMe, which raised over $15,000, helped cover funeral costs and establish a small scholarship in Kayla's name for aspiring hospitality workers. Her mother's words on a fundraiser page are a heartbreaking reminder of the loss. Kayla's light will never fade, even if she's not here with us. Kayla Hodgson was more than a victim. She was a daughter who made her mother laugh through tough times, a sister who braided her siblings' hair, a friend who turned strangers into family. Her apartment, once a crime scene, was a place of dreams, of vision boards and late-night plans. She deserved to see those dreams come true, to open that bar, to travel the world, to keep shining. Her death wasn't just a tragedy. It was a theft of a future that could have been extraordinary. This case leaves us with more questions than answers. Who was in Kayla's apartment that day? Was it Sakiyna, driven by a personal vendetta, or someone else entirely? What do you think happened that night in Tamarac? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could spark a new conversation. And if you have any information, no matter how small, contact the Broward Sheriff's Office or Broward Crime Stoppers at 954-493 TIPS. A $5,000 reward still stands. Thank you for joining me on Dark Truth Files. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into cases that demand to be heard. Let's keep Kayla's memory alive and push for the justice she deserves. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep searching for the truth.